PipSnipers here, back for another update. Let's take a look at Bitcoin over here, and what we see is Wyckoff reaccumulation. Now, we're doing the exact same thing as we did in 2023, but only in a smaller scale. So in 2023, we had our uptrend, right? We had our 5 waves, and then we had a pause in the market for over 150 days. Now, a lot of to the untrained eye, they would think that this is a head and shoulders pattern. This is a distribution pattern or a Wyckoff distribution schematic, but in reality, it was Wyckoff reaccumulation, and this Y wave over here was our spring. This over here was our spring, or our major sign of weakness. You have a move to the upside to trap all of the over leveraged longs, and then one more flush down for your test of your spring. Okay, you can even consider this over here as your spring. But yeah, this is pure Wyckoff reaccumulation. Now, usually with Wyckoff reaccumulation, you tend to see it several times throughout the uptrend, right? And we see the exact same thing playing out with Bitcoin right over here. So if we go on the 30-minute time frame, we have a WXY correction for our wave 4, okay? And you have your first peak, then you have your creek to the downside, and then you take out psychological support. When you take out psychological support here, right over here, once you take that out, this over here, you then form a short squeeze. You move up to the top of the range again to meet these highs, and bears or bulls try to break through the supply zone several times but fail. Then then these lows get met again, right? And this is your spring right over here, and then this is your test. And then we start our impulsive move to the upside. So let's go take a look at the 10-minute time frame over here. We'll actually take a look at the 25-minute time frame. And let's zoom in a little bit, and let's see what these waves are doing. So right now, it looks like we're just grinding our way up. It looks like we're just carving out this wave 2 over here. Okay, we're currently on the 50% fib. Okay, and we'll definitely alter these subwaves as price develops in the Discord. Okay, these would be the subwaves over here, right? Can come down to any of these fibs below. But just remember that if we do have a breakdown, it will likely be short-lived. This is my bias. My bias is that we have bottomed over here. So if you haven't seen my last Bitcoin video, please go ahead and take a look at that. We said that this over here was our move to the downside, and then you have one more push over here for your test, or you can even consider it your spring, and then you have just one more, right? Coming down to the 88.6% fib. You see how we perfectly came down there and had no closure below it on the hourly time frame? See, it just wicked there, but it never had a closure below it. This was your short squeeze right over here, and we perfectly called it right to the tick in the Patreon. So if you haven't joined the Patreon, please do. Click the link in the description below to get access to over 300 plus charts. Let's get back to Bitcoin over here. So we have our 5 waves up here for our wave 1. We have our 3-wave move down for our wave 2. And it looks like we're just carving out a wave 3 to the upside, right? And in doing so, it looks like we're just finding a little bit of resistance here, right? Because this is a rising wedge or a rising channel. But let's not forget that not all rising channels or rising wedges are considered bearish. In fact, a lot of rising channels or rising wedges are accumulation structures, usually before a huge run up. You can even consider it a bull flag. Right now, bull flags usually tend to slope down, but what I notice in highly over-leveraged markets that bull flags sometimes slope upwards. Okay, so it looks like we're just carving out this wave 2 of 3 over here. But let's not get so invested into this small wave count as of yet. we'll take a more of a better look in the Discord. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom out a little here on the 4-hour time frame, and I'm going to show you exactly what Bitcoin is doing, because a lot of people have the wave count wrong, and I'm going to show you the real wave count. I'm going to show you exactly what Bitcoin's doing here. We have an ABC down from 2021. We have an ABC up for our bull trap. And then we have a 5-wave move to the downside to finish up your C wave. Then in the start of 2023, we're having another ABC correction. So we have a 5-wave move up for your A wave. We then go into 150 days of Wyckoff reaccumulation for your B wave, or your pause in the market, before we have a continuation, which is our C wave, which we're currently in. Okay, so you have your wave 1, your wave 2, and then we had a very explosive wave 3. So you have your wave 1, 2, 3, and then during this Bitcoin ETF news, we had a 3-wave move down, 3-wave move up, and a 5-wave move to the downside in the form of a Elliott wave flat pattern. Okay, so this is your A, B, C for your wave 4 of 3, and then you have a explosive wave 5 of 3 to the upside. Okay, now we're doing Wyckoff reaccumulation again. You guys see that? Same thing as 2023. WXY correction for your wave 4 before we have a very explosive wave 5 to the upside, which will likely be our last wave, taking you around the $110,000 to $120,000 region. Now, the reason I think this is the last wave of Bitcoin before Bitcoin comes to an end, right? And utility coins take over when the time comes to fruition, is simply because of the fact that when we take a look at Bitcoin since 2010, we see that we are in the last wave. We have our wave 1, our wave 2, our 3, 4, and then once we had our wave 4 in January 2015, we then went on to start our what's called an ending diagonal. So with an ending diagonal, you kind of form a rising wedge, right? And the waves overlap in a 3-wave structure. So you have a 3-wave move here, 3-wave move here, 3-wave move here, 3-wave move here. And as you can see by my other chart, we have a 3-wave move here as well. So like, look, we're in the last wave before we have a nasty breakdown of this ending diagonal, which would likely take you around the $5,000 region. And the reason I say $5,000 is because if we just take a simple fib, from this wave 4 low before we enter into the ending diagonal up to the expected high at around 120,000, the 50% is around that $5,000 region. Now, I do think that once we get down here, right, we're going to have a relief rally. And I feel like when the time comes, alts are really going to get going. And then we're going to have a continuation to the downside. But we'll definitely see what happens when the time comes, and I will be updating you in the Discord. So nothing to worry about with Bitcoin. It's just grinding its way up. And yeah, I think that we still have one more wave up to go before a nasty crash. I hope you guys enjoyed the Bitcoin video. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to let me know. Peace out and take it easy. See you in the next one.